Good morning, everyone. Okay, so what I'll do today is that I'll first explain what my strategy is, and then we'll go over it one by one, right, with some examples. I was explaining to the group just a while ago is that you remember one of the mentor, or one of the Singaporean mentors. His name is Adam Khoo. His name is Adam Khoo, and you can get a lot of YouTube. He's in the YouTube channel, and you can have access to him. No? So one of the methods that he uses, which is the one I have been following, and I review most of my trades. It's what they call the value momentum investment strategy. All right, it's called value momentum investment strategy. So in other words, I am basically also a value person. No, I'm a value guy, and I use a lot of one of the examples that I think I showed you last week. In April 30, we did a presentation on what we called a value capitulation mean reversion. Those are the things that I really enjoy, because the reason for that is because you already have a cheating. There's a cheating. I call it cheating, basically, because you understand the company well, you have a fair value, and being sold down because of what we call market-driven crash. The one that happened last month was the MSCI rebalancing. Yun ang tinatawag natin na parang nagbibigay ng pera talaga sa market, no? And you would be able to see, and I think I don't know if you saw the video that we did. It's called the strategy. It's called a capitulation mean reversion. Capitulation mean reversion. The other thing also is that what is very important, it can only happen in the Philippines. Mostly it happens only in the Philippines. What is the reason why this kind of a opportunity arises? It is because our market is very small, right? And when the big boys comes in and start buying based on, like what happened in the MSCI is just a quant. They don't really care whether a company is doing well, not doing well. They don't even look at it. It's just a quant. The Philippine market is so small. It's only 4.4% of the total MSCI portfolio. So when they say sell AP, sell Megaworld, sell Pure Gold, and it's a huge, sometimes just a deletion, they don't really care whether the company is doing well or not. They don't care. For example, an example is the AP, the Avoidance Power, right? The fair value is 40-something. They deleted the whole thing because of probably, I don't know how they value it. It could be an environment, an ESG. They just took it out and did not even put a little bit in the small MSCI funds, right? Unlike Megaworld and Pure Gold was included. So we will assume that they deleted it because of their ESG, the environment, social and governance issue. So it's more of the environment. And what happened is that it was sold down really irrationally. We call that irrational selling. No? So when we see these things, we have a way of entering it. So I think we showed you also what are the checklists for a capitulation play. No? But you need to understand the fundamentals of that company has to be in place. The cheating is Avoidance Power in the first quarter. You can see the earnings went double already, and even with that, the MSCI, whoever doing the computation, did not even consider it, right? So if you go to the PSEI Edge, you can see already that there was a double in terms of earnings. No, maybe flat in terms of revenues, but there was a double. And then, in the case of Avoidance Power, the West End prices last year was 2.5, 2.6 per kilowatt hour. Today, it's average more than, I think right now, it went to a high of 9 pesos. So you can expect that the second quarter earning is really going to be even better than the first quarter. So these are what we call Not really anecdotal, because if you follow the Western prices, you can see that the fluctuations already. So may cheating ka talaga. No? May cheating ka talaga. Right? So what is the reason why I follow Adam Koo? Adam Koo, because we are also actively in the market. So we need to understand all the different momentum strategies. That's why it's called value momentum. Right? So when prices are going up already and it's way beyond the fair value prices, you need to know how to exit it also. Because if you don't know how to exit it, then ikot ka lang ng ikot eh. Ikot ka lang ng ikot. Huh? All right? So let me share with you how I look at things and how I participate in the different market. No? I will be more focused on the Philippine market because I think this is and the most of you guys here, the interns, will be exposed also to the global market. But there are a few basic things that I need, and I think Jason said it very well in his presentation. The number one is that we need to know where we are. Nasaan ba tayo? Right? And that was I think I shared with you guys the other day on what we call the market cycle clock. Market cycle clock. That's very powerful. That is the macro. Nasaan tayo ngayon? All right? The Philippines, for me, is still in what we call a weak bear. It's a weak bear. Why is it a weak bear? It's because we are still getting out of the pandemic, meaning from 2019, most of the companies, especially the big caps, are still underperforming with their earnings. If you look at their earnings, they're still underperforming. So the Philippines, we are in what we call a weak bear. After the capitulation, which is the strong bear that happened in 2019, right? March 2000, there was a huge liquidation. That is for us a strong bear. And now what we're seeing for the last year, we're seeing all these rallies coming in. So it's still a buy low, sell high strategy. So the first one was a mean reversion. In March, after the capitulation, was a mean reversion. It pulled back, rallied again, and then another pullback, and now we're seeing the same thing. So we have seen it. In other words, if you understand the market cycle clock, wherein it's a buy low, sell high, you would have made money 3 times already. 3 times you would have made money. All right? The first was the capitulation, rallied all the way to resistance, right? It's called what we call the square root. Then the breakout. After that, another pullback, and then another surge. And now we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing another surge. So it's a buy low, sell high strategy. Buy low, sell high strategy. So that's the first thing I look for. Where are we today? We are basically still in a quadrant 1, which is a weak bear. All right. The US for us is what we call a weak bull, which is that quadrant 3. No? Quadrant 3 yan. No? So every time before you do anything, you need to see the overall where we are today. Nasaan ba tayo? Whenever I give a presentation, I always show them the boom bust cycle chart, which is where we are. We pinpoint already kung saan tayo ngayon. No? All right? Okay, the second one is, of course, very important, is I look at the 10-year US Treasury. Nasaan ba yan? Nasaan ba yung 10-year Treasury natin? All right, so this morning I had a call, and one of my fund manager was asking me, "Sir, what do you think of this thing? How come it's going down? How come it's going down?" Huh? Right? In other words, the Fed funds, nagsalita yung Fed, oh, sige, we are going to normalize now the Fed funds. In other words, what is the Fed saying? Fed says, I want to increase interest rates now. Because of that alone, you can see huge sell-off. But then, the 10-year is showing you differently. The 10-year is breaking down. I mean, di ba? Nakakahilo naman talaga, di ba? Bakit yung nagsalita lang ng Fed, aakyat ko yung interest rates, ino-normalize ko na. The short term, T-bills, the Fed funds. Bakit the 10-year is going down? You have to remember, the 10-year is a forward-looking, very forward-looking. In other words, the reason why the 10-year went up the last probably 6 months, is because of inflation. Because of inflation. Today, when short-term interest goes up, what does it mean? They're now tackling the inflation, right? So short-term going up, long-term binibentahan. So it's a risk-off, risk-on. You need to understand it. Now, are we bullish? The answer is yes. We will look at all this sell-off today because of the normalization of the interest rate. That means the Fed, whenever they're increasing, the Fed funds are going up. What does it mean? That means the economy is doing well and they're ready for the market to have some sell-off. You need to understand that. So in the beginning of the Fed funds, the rise of the Fed funds, you would see, and I think what's his name? Jason showed it. You can see that every time the Fed funds goes up, the market sell off first. The day that they announce it, the market will rally. No? What is the reason why? It's basically pricing in already. Nagsalita na yung Fed. The next 2 years, we're going to increase the Fed funds na. Paakit na yan. Paakit na interest rate. So let me show you an example. Let's go to Citibank. The minute that they announce it, nagsasalita na ng Fed, bumabaksak na yung presyo without actually increasing the Fed rates yet. Hindi pa nang ini-increase, bumaksak na yung presyo. Look at this, so beautiful, di ba? No, you need to understand it. You need to understand it. As the Fed funds goes up, before it goes up, binebentahan na yan. The day that they announce it, the market will rally. What is the reason? It's because it's telling you, the Fed is telling you that the economy is recovering. Right? This pandemic is almost over, it's recovering. So you need to understand, you will see a lot of these things. As Fed goes up, the Fed funds rise, then it will stay sideways for a while, and then they'll go for the next one, sideways for a while, and you would see that the market will continue to go up after a sell-off. These are very healthy correction. We call it healthy correction yan. These are opportunities for us to participate. Once they announce it, you will see the rally na. No? So the market don't like what we call the uncertainty. The day that the Fed says, okay, we're going to increase it now from I think 0 yata nga, 0.25 to 0.5 or 0.375, the market will rally already. Right? So that's the reason why it's not the 10-year, it's the short-term Fed funds. No? So you need to understand the market. The market is really very, very, how do you say this? Very challenging, mainly because there is a short term, there's a long term. Short term, long term. That's why you need to understand. What's his name? This guy is an economics major. Si Kobe.
Yes, sir.
Kobe.
Yes, sir.
Tama ba yung sinasabi ko?
Yes, sir.
Between short term and long term. O ano ba yan? Tama ba yan?
Oo
Baka
naman,
mamaya.
sir.
Ha?
Oo naman, sir. Inflation expectations.
Exactly. Tama ba yung sinasabi ko? Baka hindi ako eco major. Baka mamaya sasabihin mo, mali yung sinasabi ko. So these are really market. The problem is the market is very different. No? So kasi at interest rates goes up, syempre natatakot ka na. Right? But in reality, you have to understand the reason why the Fed needs to start what? In fact, they're late already. They need to start increasing, normalizing the interest rate, the short-term interest rates. Because what will happen is, if the economy, like for example, I think in 2015, 16, dapat ini-increase na yung short-term. Yellen, delayed it eh. Diba? When the economy is doing well, the role of the Fed is really to increase interest rates. So that when the recession comes, for example, the market, the economy is slowing down already, they can now have interest rate to bring it down. Nako mo? Kasi kung hindi, wala na mabibigay. Zero interest rate, negative interest rates. Anong kwenta nun, di ba? So you have to understand the market is basically very dynamic. Very dynamic. It's always forward-looking. Nagsalita ang Fed, binita na yung market eh. Oh, ini-imagine, no, kung in-increase na yung short-term interest rates, then what will happen to the market? What do you think? Akit ang market. Akit ang market. No? So it is always, parang pwede natin sabihin, inverse correlated yan. Baligtad palagi itong stock market. That's why stock market is so difficult really to learn. It's because what you read, you need to understand the underlying reason behind it. Diba? What is price in? What is not price? I think Jason also talk about that. No? Talk about that. So kailangan, you need to really, I think what is really important is you have to keep on reviewing all the different lectures that you're seeing. Baka mahilo talaga kayo, mahilo talaga tayo. All right? So I look at the 10-year, I look at the Fed, I also look at what? The US dollar. No? The US dollar. All right? So whatever you say, for example, let's look at the US dollar. Right? It has been weeks for so many years. I think 1.5 years, you're saying that. The minute that they're going to increase short term, ano nangyari sa market, sa US dollar? Umakyat na kaagad. Umakyat na yan. And that's the reason why all the all the other instrument, the gold went down, Bitcoin went down. These are all against the US. As the dollar starts moving up, all the speculative instrument will definitely be very challenging. No? So let's look at some of the numbers. So this is the US dollar. Look at it. Diba? So if I am a momentum trader, if I look at it at this technical analysis, there's a lady there who is a technician. See? Danny, what is that reversal pattern? What do you call that? What do you call that? Pagtingin mo, what is that reversal pattern na makikita mo dyan? Ano makikita mo dyan? Did it retest the law? Nag-retest ba yan? Danny?
Yes.
So what ang tawag natin dyan? What do you call that? In technical terms, what do you call that? Is that a double bottom?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's yes, Danny. In other words, so if that's a double bottom, what do you think will happen to the US dollar in the next couple of months? Sa tingin mo, paakyat yan, pababa?
Paakyat.
Oh, sa tingin mo, ano yan? O yan, nandito na yan. What is that? If that's a double bottom, where do you think the market will the US dollar reverse? Nagre-reverse na ba yan? Hindi pa. Nag-reverse na ba yan? Hindi pa. Danny?
Mag-reverse na po.
Okay, very good. All right. So in other words, the US dollar is showing strength, underlying strength, because of who? It was the Fed. Nagsalita ng Fed, tataas na ako ng interest rate. Ino-normalize ko na yan. Nagrally na yung US dollar. And what happened? Vice versa. Look at the gold, GLD. Tingnan mo. Baksak na yan. So inverse correlated. No? Inverse correlated yan. And then look at the Bitcoin. Ganun din. No? Ano ba yan? GBTC na lang. Ayan, you can use that. Or use the Bitcoin. So you have to remember, when the US dollar, if the US dollar starts going up, what will happen is that the whole market, all the speculative markets, will head to what? Fiat money yan. So in other words, if the US dollar is going strong, it's basically inverse correlated to all the other speculative issues. Huh? Okay, so let me just share with you. So these are the things that I look at. These are all the things that I look at. Very simple. It's not complicated. Right? Is it complicated ba? Complicated ba? Ang tingin mo? Parang simple, no? Kobe, simple lang ba?
Kaya pa, sir. Kaya pa.
Kaya pa?
Kaya pa,
Si
kaya
Erica.
pa.
Saan si Erica? Erica, saan ka?
Hi, sir.
Oo.
Hello.
Tama ba yung sinabi ko?
Yeah, sir. Tama naman.
Sigurado ka?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's how we look at it. Very simple lang. Look at the macro. Look at the macro. Look at all the different instrument that can affect the next 3 to 6 months or a year. Kailangan nandun ka. Alam ka. That's very, very important. Because if you don't know the market cycle clock, you don't know where you are in that whole quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. mahihirapan ka talaga, no? Because then you will say, how come momentum doesn't work? How come swing doesn't work? Or how come it's going to a downtrend? What strategy do we use? These are things that are very, very important. What is risk off? What is risk on? Based on interest rates. Now, of course, you will tell me, sir, nag 1.8 yung 10-year, right? Let's look at the 10-year. What happened? So are we risk on, risk off? Diba? The market is so dynamic. I'm telling you, the market is just so dynamic. Look at the 10-year. All right? Where did it peak? There. This is what? March. Okay. When it broke down, the 50-day, 50-day, when did it break down? 1 week ago. 1 month ago. All right. Let's look at the Philippines. PSEI. Pareho. Right? So the minute that it breaks the 50-day, rally na yung Philippine market. It's inversely correlated. So risk on, risk off. They ask me, so sir, since it's breaking down already, ano ba yan? Risk off, risk on na ba tayo sa Philippines? I said, umakyat na yan eh. In anticipation of the breakdown eh. So that's why it's very important. Like us, for example, going forward, is it going to be going up? The answer is yes. After the profit taking comes in, you need to be mentally prepared to go along the Philippines. You need to be prepared. In other words, we're taking profits based on this rally, this huge rally that we're seeing. We are selling on this rally. But when it pulls back, I need to be mentally prepared to basically buy it back. So these are what we call a buy low, sell high strategy. No? So of course, then you can talk about the Fibonacci. Is it going to be 0.382, 0.5, 0.68? Hindi ko talaga alam yan. Kasi parang ko sinasabi, kung alam ko lang, mayaman na ako. Hindi ko talaga alam yan. Pero alam ko, pag mura, I want to be buying. Okay? I want to be buying. All right? So there are a lot of strategies which I think I shared. These guys, you guys have it, no? You guys have it, no? Yes. All right. So please, you need to understand each and every strategy, right? What will normally happen? What will normally happen is that after the market reverses, so let's say, for example, that consolidation before the breakout. So there are a lot of consolidation. What are these consolidation? There are a lot of patterns. So the first one that they always talk about is what we call a cap and handle pattern. After the huge reset, may mga cap and handle pattern talaga yan. So the one that we catch last 2 months ago, 3 months ago, is a company called CNPF. First is that you need to understand, may checklist talaga tayo. Alright? After the reversal last year, isang taon na yan, consolidate. And then before the breakout, you can see, before the breakout, that was a cap and handle. Cap and handle. Now, remember, we are values. So during that consolidation, we are the one accumulating. Nag-accumulate na kami dyan. Because that's why you need the 4 P's: people, product, potential, predictable. So what is important is you need to understand the companies that you like. Now, how do you know the companies that you like? May checklist tayo, di ba? And then what happened is check with the PSEI to confirm whether the quarterly earnings is already recovering or not, right? Meaning the earnings has to confirm. If the earnings doesn't confirm, that chart will not break out. Believe me, kung breakout yan, post-breakout lang yan. No? So these are the things that are very important. Very important. So you see that long reset, long consolidation. What's the reason? Century Tuna was doing so well. It was doing at 13 to 15 times PE lang yan. So cheap. The market was 20-25 times. Ito, 13 to 15. So then you need to understand it also. All the fundamentals, kailangan nagbabasa kayo. Kasi pag hindi kayo nagbabasa, we're just speculating. You need to confirm with numbers using the PSEI as your guide sa earnings yan. Or cheating ka na lang kay COL, calling the shots by April. If I don't have time, I just kinukuha ko lang April, ano ba gusto ko? Anong gusto mo? Bakit mo gusto? Tatanungin ko lang sa kanya. Which she writes about it. She writes about it. Okay, we will go to that later on. We will just get her list and let's practice. Let's just practice how we approach, how at least I approach it. No? Because we manage funds for everybody. So that's the same thing as what we do. Now practicing natin in April. I think I don't know if you watch the hurdle the other day, last Friday, or April was with us. And then that afternoon, there's a COL hurdle. I can share it with you guys para you can have an idea on ano yung gusto nila, ano nga ayaw nila. All right? Okay. So the next one is basically, let's go back to CNPF. Okay. Let me share with you the different setup. Okay? Look at the breakout of that cup and handle. Can we draw that? Madadraw ba natin yan? From the board?
Yes.
Kaya ba?
Okay.
Just look at this chart. There are basically three different setups. There was first a cup and handle. Then after the surge, it's a holy grail. It basically pulled back up to the 20-day EMA, right? Then it surged again, did a boomer, then the breakout. No? All right. So in other words, if I am a trader, I can basically participate. Same issue 3 times. Okay? Of course, you will say, boss, sir, hindsight, it's not true. We executed it. We executed 3 times in the funds that and we started getting it out. What is the reason why we started getting out? Because it was included in the MSCI addition. That's why we told everybody to get out when the MSCI approached last month. This is perfect, yes. Then the holy grail, the pullback to 20-day EMA, right? So you put down yeah, that's it. And then the next one is a blue boomer, the breakout. Okay. 3 things, cup and handle, the pullback to 20-day EMA, which is what we call the holy grail, and the boomer, which is basically a flag. No? Danny, you have to correct me if I'm wrong. Everything is there. Danny, tama ba yung sinabi ko?
Yes, sir.
Yes ka lang, yes. Pag mali, sabi mo rin, para matuto rin ako sa iyo. Para we'll have idea, okay? So in other words, these are things that are, yes, it can be say hindsight, nagtuturo lang tayo, but really, we executed. And later on, we will practice tayo. Practice from the list of calling the shots. How do we approach it? How are we going to participate? Para may idea kayo kung paano natin ginagawa. Basta the most important, you need to pre-qualify the issues. What is the reason why fundamentally you have to know the issue well? Erika, balikat kita. Erika. Wala. Nakalusot. Okay. Wala. Sino ba yung nasa taas? Yung tabi ni BJ. Gabriel, what is the reason why you need to know the issue well? Do you need to pre-qualify? You have to know the issue well. What is the reason? Bakit kailangan naintindihan mo itong company na binib or sector na pinaparticipate? That's why I was asking them to give you guys sector. Each one, you have to be the expert of this particular sector. Anything that moves on that sector, kailangan naintindihan mo yan. What is the reason? Hindi chart lang. Kasi pag chart lang, mabilis lang yan eh. Ang tawag namin sa chartist, sorry Dania, trabahong tamad. Ang tawag namin doon, trabahong tamad. Pindot-pindot lang, trabahong tamad yan. Kailangan naintindihan mo, bakit mo gusto itong kumpanya nito? You need to know it. You need to know it. It's a mental preparation. No? Para alam mo, gamay na gamay mo. I can trade any issue. Once I know the issue well, I can trade all kinds of setups. Whether it's top, reset, reversal. Kaya-kaya ko yan. It's called what? What's the reason why you need to Gabriel? Gabriel? Why do we yes.
Maybe because so that you know like what to expect, especially from the different sectors. Like if they're performing well, then you should expect them to their charts to be like breaking out and stuff. But then if the sector is not performing well, then it's not supposed to go up. It's just supposed to like stay there or go down. So
What?
yeah.
Yes. Very important. Kailangan yung mental preparation mo, kailangan naintindihan mo yan. Kasi pag hindi mo naintindihan, ang mangyayari sa'yo, pag breakout, sometimes isip mo ba, baka false breakout. Nako mo. If you're just trading without understanding what you're buying, at the back of your mind, yung subconscious mo, kasi hindi mo kilala yung kumpanya. Pag hindi mo alam yung kumpanya, then it's a game of probability. Pag breakout, baka false breakout. Maybe get it? Do you understand? So these are the challenges. That's why kailangan naintindihan mo yung kumpanya. You have to know it well talaga. So that you will increase your probability that ang pagpindot mo yan, alam mo kung anong pinipindot mo. You got it? Gabriel? Are we good?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, boss.
All right. Okay, so the most critical, especially in the Philippines, we are basically very traditional businesses. Walang masyadong tech issues yan. Kaya sa Pilipinas, puro almost 85% are correlated. Diba? We're basically the same. It's a traditional businesses. Wala naman tayong mga high-tech companies na we can get excited about. In the US, there are a lot. That's why you need to understand sectors. For example, on the EV, di ba? Electrical vehicles. Sino mga pumapasok dito ngayon? Sino yung supply chain? Ano yung what are the different? Ang dami. I mean, imagine. That's the reason why I need people. I mean, or else I don't really need anybody to do this. The reason why we need a lot of people is because each sector, right? There's just so many things to cover all over. Ang dami talaga. All right? Oh, so this is good.
Yeah, that's their assignment. They take ng 13.
Okay. REIT is local.
US.
US REIT din. Okay, that's good. Okay.
Listed din kayo mga Singapore, mga...
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's very good. Okay. So you need to understand that. Kailangan naintindihan din yan. Kasi pag hindi nyo naintindihan, the mental preparation is, for me, is the key. First is the macro. Nasaan ka? Di ba? Nasaan ka? Overall macro, where let's say the economic cycle kung nasaan ka. Di ba? That's one. Two, you need to understand the fundamentals. You know, if you talk about FPSR, so what happened is the sentiment is basically the market cycle clock. The sentiment is really the market cycle clock. So from the macro, you have to be able to see it. Nasaan tayo? Weak bear, strong bull, weak bull, strong bear, right? Umiikot yan. That's the first thing you need to know, right? So we know we are in a, ano ba tayo? Sino yung nasa tabi ni Gabriel? Harold. So we know we are in a what? Nasaan tayo?
Weak bear.
Yes, we're in a weak bear, right? So we are trying to reverse. In other words, what we're trying to do, what are we trying to do? We are trying to reverse. Wala pa. Trying. So it's like rally to resistance, binebenta niya. So profit taking, you need that few more quarters to make sure that the economy is recovering. No? In other words, the reopening of our economy. Once the reopening of our economy, paakat na yung market. No? So going forward, we should be, Harold, should we be bearish or bullish?
As the market recover, we should be bullish na.
That's right. We should be bullish. We have to wear that bullish hat, huh? Right? Because we can see that after the pandemic, we are already seeing a lot of companies that are recovering already from the 2019 numbers. Huh? Because that's the basis, binentahan yung market. In the next couple of months, once the reopening starts, going forward, the next quarter or 2 quarters from now, once it starts breaking out, we will now go to what we call the strong bull, the beginning of the earnings profit cycle, huh? Earnings up, growing cycles in terms of earnings. Okay? So yan na, kailangan you have to wear that hat. Huh? We are going to wear that hat. We are buy low, sell high in the meantime, and as it consolidates, as it corrects, we need to buy back. Pag akyat, benta ulit. Huh? We need this consolidation for it to start reversing. And it's based on the economy. Huh? The economy. Is it going to start reopening? Are there more people, the earnings are going to be in that earnings growth cycle already. Back to the earnings growth cycle. Okay? Napagod na ako. Okay. Tanda na ako. All right. Thank you, Harold. Okay. Let's go for some let's look at calling the shots. Can you get the calling the shots, the numbers? Any questions first? Question. Alvin, ikaw ang pinakamaraming question. Alvin, nandiyan ba si Alvin?
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Any question? Ikaw pinakamaraming question eh. Kaya...
I think Harold has a question, sir. None for me yet.
Harold, go ahead.
Yes, Harold.
Sir, I have a question lang po. So,
Yes.
in this pandemic, di ba, other companies parang flourish talaga because of yung lockdowns and all. So once the market reopen, what can we expect from those companies? Do we expect a slight decline because of yung high base effect nila? Or can we assume na it will continue to grow since bullish na yung market?
You're talking about businesses, you mean, Harold?
Yes.
You're talking about what do you mean? Businesses that has to close down, you mean?
I mean, like yung businesses na nag-profit or nag-gain ng more revenues because of the pandemic.
Oh,
So
you're talking about, yeah. Okay.
So once the market reopens, what can we expect from those companies?
Well, definitely, depending. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's say CNPF, right? Let's say CNPF. Going forward, I think if they don't produce new products, right? The earnings are just going to be what? Maybe single digit or double teens, early teens lang. Yung mga 12, 13, 15% lang yan. No? Because parang nangyari, because during the pandemic, it's essential, right? People are basically eating probably more tuna, more of their product, di ba? So, what nangyari doon, parang nag-front loading ka kasi nasa bahay ka lang, di ba? So, let's look at the business itself. No? So unless they have new products, for example, their milk businesses is growing also very fast. So kailangan i-breakdown mo lang yan eh. I-breakdown mo lang yan eh. So ang ginagawa namin, for example, like us, we sold 23, 24 pesos of the CNPF. We're waiting for the pullback to go back to about 15 to 18 times PE to be able to get back in. So like I was sharing with you guys the other day, is that you would see the table of from the book of Michael Moe, the Finding Next Starbucks. You have to look at the earnings of each of the company, and as treasury bills, as the T-bill starts going up, then your PE will change. Nagmumove yan eh. As interest rates goes down, your PE multiple goes up. As interest rates goes up, your PE multiple goes down. No? So you need to understand that also. Kailangan maintindihan mo yan. Kasi the interest rates are very, can be very influenced because cost of money goes up yan. No? As your cost of money goes up, let's say if you're a highly leveraged company, bebantahan yan. The earnings will be affected. No? Will be affected. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Your strategy last year.
Yes, for the essentials, defensive, non-essentials. Yeah.
This is 2030. And then the first round, the second round.
Yes. So the first round, this was what? Kailan ba yun? Tagal nito.
Second half of last year to eh.
Second half last year, yes. When we were talking about CNPF already. No?
So yung first round mo.
Yeah, the essentials. Yeah, the essentials.
And then the second round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions? Any more questions? All right. Let's look at the calling the shots. Let's look at April's pick. This is new one.
Yes, last week.
Okay. Telco. So fair value, telephone is 1820, Globe is 2480. Okay. Let's look at the chart. Pangit naman itong chart na ito. Sino nandun? Sino nandun? So who's the first one to,
Harold.
after Harold, sino's the next one? Kyle!
Yes, sir.
Maganda ba itong chart na ito?
Medyo pangit po.
Okay. It has been pangit for almost more than a year, right?
Yes, sir.
About 2 years. Okay. So if you look at the pandemic last March, is it higher low or still testing the previous low?
Still testing the previous low.
Okay, testing the previous low. All right. So what is the reason why Globe is still underperforming? You have any idea?
No, sir.
Okay, so the earnings are basically affected because of because of the growth of Converge and because of the. And I think if you watch the video of the interview between April and Ernest Koo last week, I think it came out on her in the interview, and he admitted basically, as far as the fiber is concerned, they are way behind. All right. So in other words, people are focusing more of the growth play of Converge, because Converge is still growing at 50-60% in terms of subscribers, in terms of earnings. All right. So it's also correlated. Correlated. Okay. Let me ask you, why is it that April likes Globe? What is that Globe, inside Globe, that excites?
I think, sir, for Globe, I think it was the news that GCash might IPO.
That's very good. All right. So in other words, GCash is the bait, right? For her to continuously recommend Globe, that's one of the reasons, right? That's one of the reasons, because GCash is not included in the valuations of Globe today. All right. That's one. Number two, they announced a huge capex of, I think, of 70 billion. When you announce a 70 billion in capex, what does it mean? What does it mean? Sino ko sa niya? Kyle, what does it mean? Anong ibig sabihin yan? Bakit kailangan? In other words, they already are showing you, I'm going to spend 70 billion. Saan pupunta itong 70 billion na capex na ito? Saan pupunta yan?
I think, sir, sa for further expansion of Globe.
Including what? The fiber, di ba? Nasaan si Kai? Makita siya. Okay, sorry. Hard of hearing na. Hard of looking pa. Okay. So in other words, if I am going to expand, increasing capex, is it good or bad?
It's good po.
Very good, di ba? Dapat very good yan. And if, in other words, is there value for Globe or not? May value ba yan? Wala.
I think meron po.
Okay. And then the best part is they're paying you how many
Okay.
percent dividend?
I'm not sure po. I think around 4%.
4 to 5%. Meaning, ano yung sabihin nun? There is an underlying value, mura, pero the market is not seeing it first because the market basically is comparing them with Telephone, with Converge, then they talk about the Dito. People are more excited of Dito and Converge rather than seeing there's an underlying jewel wherein it's not even being computed. Kasi, di ba, in-explain ni April ata yan eh. Because lahat ng mga analysts, pag walang kita, hindi kasama sa discounted value. Di ba? Tama ba yan? Discounted cash flow. Walang cash flow eh. So they don't include it. So it's not even included in the valuation. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ganun lang. So in other words, what April is saying indirectly is that the fair value is there, right? You're buying out the discount. So value people kami like us, we will accumulate and we are being paid 4 to 5% a year in cash dividend. In other words, they're paying us for them to wait. In other words, binabayaran tayo para maghintay tayo para mag-grow sila. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the most important. Huh? That's why it's called value momentum. May value yan. That's why we have to look at it. All right? Okay? So we're good? You understand
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. So bumili ka na. Ay, just joking. Salesman. Let's look at the second one, PLDT. Yung gusto ni April. Sino yung sa susunod? Luigi, tao natin eh. Di ba si Luigi? Di ba tao natin? Luigi, accepted ka. Pwede ba? Sino yan? Sino ba? Kobe! O, ikaw. Kobe!
Yes, hello.
Maganda ba yung chart o pangit?
Medyo pangit din, sir. Parang di siya daw gumagalaw. No?
Oo nga, pangit din. Ano bang meron sa loob ng PLDT? But is it better than Globe or hindi?
I'm not very familiar with yung contents, but I think I would prefer na Globe, especially in light of GCash nga.
Okay. Chart-wise, sino mas guwapo? Globe o Telephone?
Si PLDT naman ata.
Ha?
Parang si PLDT naman mas maganda ang chart.
PLDT daw.
Oh, tama yan. So pagtingin mo ng chart, alam mo na sino mas guwapo, sino mas pangit, di ba? Alright, let's look at the PLDT valuations. Ano valuation ng PLDT? Oh. 20-30% pa rin, no? Di ba? And it's the same thing. Ano meron sa loob ng PLDT? Ano meron? Ano meron dyan? Ang daming poster. Ang dami. Exactly. Ang daming poster ni Yunbin, no? Hindi mo nakikita yan? Di ba, mga Korean, BTS yata, kasama na, di ba? Hindi pa ba? Smart na? Oh. Can you imagine? Di ba? And then they're also doing the same thing. They're paying us how many percent? 4 to 5% to 6%. And waiting for them to earnings growth. Okay? So ganun na. That's the reason why, I'm sure that's the only reason why we like the telco play, di ba? Right? Nakuha mo? You got it?
Yes.
So which one do you like best? Globe, Telephone, Dito, or Converge? Sa apat. O, sige. Practice tayo, practice tayo. Nandiyan ka na. Kobe.
Ako pala. Okay. Okay. I think I would prefer Globe because I think there's a lot of potential in GCash. Parang walang equivalent na ganun si PLDT. So we might expect earnings growth from PLDT, but will it be as large as whatever growth GCash might bring to Globe, 'di ba? As for Converge and Dito naman,
Tignan natin siya.
I think there's a lot of uncertainty pa regarding how many subscribers they will eventually ultimately get, kung ano yung magiging final na market share pag once everything settles down na. So I'm a bit skeptical on that, and especially because it doesn't seem like parang hindi sila pumapasok ng mobile phone business, no? Parang more of internet type sila, puro internet plans lang sila. I haven't heard much about wala silang mobile phone na brand. And if I recall from one of the financial statements na nabasa ko, like halos ilang years ago na ba yun? If I recall, mobile is, I think, mobile is sort of becoming the future na, no, of like data consumption, puro mobile na rin. So parang ano yung prospects doon nila Converge na puro home wifi pa lang ang plans nila so far.
So out of the 4 charts, anong pinakagwapo dyan?
As a chart, sure, si Converge or si Dito. Di ko binabantayan si Dito, pero pero silang dalawa yung mga favorites, no, when it comes to charts.
Okay, so this morning, somebody called me also. They asked me, Sir, nabenta ba natin itong Converge na ito? Let's look at Converge. Put it 1 year. Put it 1 year lang. Who's next to Kobe? Nathan. Nathan ba?
Hello.
Nathan, out of the 4 charts, this one is the most beautiful ba?
Yes, I'd say so.
Okay, so where do you think we participated in Converge? Based on page the coiling issues. Coiling. There's an issue here. Ito coils. On
Yes.
coils, okay. So let's look at it. So there are several kinds of coils. You have the falling coil, flat coil, and then you have the full coil, the full back coil. Okay. So it's the first falling coil or flat coil for Converge. Let's look at it. Go back to Converge. Where do you think we started looking at it?
Right after it reached yung all-time high ng right above 21, there was like a slight, I say it looks like a falling coil.
Very good. You're higher.
Yes. Then you could see that it started breaking out above yung 20-day moving average. And
Very good. All
I'd
right.
say
So
that's when you start looking at it.
and you can see, where do you see the falling coil? How do you know it's a falling coil? It's basically price, diba? When they announce it, there's a huge gap. Profit taking comes in, stays at 20, 50-day EMA. Look at the MACD at the bottom, right? Oh, hindi ka marunong tumingin ng falling coil. Patrick, Saan ang falling coil natin? Ito yung falling coil. Sino mamawak na? Si Sina. Yung falling coil. Nandun, MACD 0. Near the 0. Gugulo ka. Yun, MACD. Nakikita mo ba yung MACD na yan? Alright, that's it. That's your falling coil. In other words, great announcement, gap up, right? Profit taking comes in, stays at 20, 50-day EMA. Boom. That's the beginning of the entry point. So we talk about what? We talk about a falling coil. Very good. Sino ba yun? Nathan, pwede ka na. So this is, it's all there. It's all there. It's all here also, right? You have a falling coil that is very, very, and we use the MACD. MACD basically quieting down near the major support area. You need to be mentally prepared already. You know the issue well. Profit taking comes in, ABC, falling coil. Okay, very good, very good. Pasado ka na. All right, let's go. What's the other one? AREIT. Who's the next in line? Next. Danny. Okay, Danny. Let's look at your chart. Danny, ano? Tingin mo. AREIT. Pwede pa ba yan?
Pwede pa naman as of now, sir. Pero sort of become careful na since medyo all-time high siya. Tapos baka we can retest rin sa around 35. Kasi yun yung parang sa resistance dun sa dalawang top.
Okay, so what do you see there? The momentum. Is the momentum still there or is it going to be weakening?
Parang medyo weakening.
Weakening because of the divergences. Do you see the divergences?
Yes, sir.
The divergences. Okay, so let me ask you, if I am looking at this chart, where is the strong bull? Nasaan ka? Nasaan yung strong bull?
Siguro
What did
yung...
Yeah. Where did the strong bull peak? Saan ka lang peak yung strong bull?
Sa 35.
35 yan. Yung the first one, the first strong bull. Kaliwa. Yeah, that's it. That's your strong bull, di ba? That's your quadrant 2. It peak at 35 yan. Hindi ko makita eh.
Yeah.
Peak at 35, right? Then profit taking comes in, right? So, what is this new high? Is it a strong bull or a weak bull?
I think weak bull, sir.
Very good. So even though prices are going up, we consider that as a weak bull because of what? Because of divergences. Okay? Because of divergences. Now, what is this fundamental that created the AREIT to be where it is today? What is that? What is that? They listed at what? 27 ba? 2650 ba? Right? After a long consolidation, started moving strong bull. All right? Then, right now, we're a weak bull. So, what is this weak bull? What is the reason why there is a weakness in the AREIT right now? It's parang losing momentum, even though nag-new high, but losing momentum. What is that reason? This should be a reason, right? Danny, what is that reason? Sa tingin mo? Today, yeah. Okay, sorry.
I'm not as familiar with the stock, but baka yung second round of COVID-19, so medyo humina siya.
No. It's not that. It's because the return. Initially, they promised 6% return. Today, down to, because prices have gone up so much already. So the return is less than 5% now. 4 point something na lang natitira. All right. So it's losing the interest is because the return, the yield is below 5% already. No? Ganun lang. Kasi people buy REIT is because of what? Because of yield. At that time, they were promised 5.5%, 6% yield. Di ba? That's the reason why nag-run up yan. As it runs up, they keep on injecting new assets to maintain that 5-6% cash dividend. Yield is the cash dividend yan. So that's what we're seeing, okay? So we tell people to lighten up on AREIT. It's mainly because they're not getting that 6% yield anymore. For example, between Globe and AREIT, which one will you buy? Globe is also paying you 5-6% cash dividend, diba? And waiting for it to grow, diba? So in other words, that's what April was saying during the hurdle last Friday, right? There are a lot of companies right now that are paying you 5-6, even AP is paying you 5-6% cash dividend, diba? Right? So then you have your upside on the equity itself, on the stock itself. So that's how we wear the hat. The hat of what? Participating when this one is expensive, we rotate na. Nagro-rotate na rin kami. Okay?
Here's a question pala from Erica. Sabi niya, correct ba that you'll buy Globe even if there's no clear reversal pattern yet? Technical.
Values eh. Yeah,
From
values.
Erica.
Yes, values. Yes. But Erica, you have to remember, you can, if you're, for example, like us, for example, we're managing portfolio. No choice kami. We have to buy it when there's value, right? But if your account is probably 50 million, you can still participate when it reverses. O sige, 10 million na lang. No, because enough liquidity for you to participate. Do you understand? Meaning, if I'm a fund manager, I don't have a choice. I have to look at it. But if I am just your size is smaller, then you can participate easy. You can wait for it to reverse before you enter it. Erica, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So if you have 50 million, no problem. But if you're managing 1 billion, wala yan. Kailangan you have to enter it already. Alright? Just wearing that investment hat lang. Kasi tayo, kung malita, kagaya namin, malita yung pera ko, wala yan. Magpa-participate ako only when it reverses. That's a very good question. Tama yan. No? So wearing hats, different hats yan. If I'm a fund manager, no choice. Value. Walang problema. I have to start accumulating. Di ba? I can wait. They pay me a cash dividend for me to wait naman di ba? Right? Kasi may values naman yan Murang-mura yan Diba? But if I am a market timer, I need to market time it also. Because if I have limited cash, konti lang pera ko, I can go in anytime. So a smaller account is sometimes returns are higher. Erica, you understand? If your account is small,
Yes, sir.
your return should be higher than the fund manager. Kasi you're more nimble diba? Right? I think you can see from a lot of even Peter Lynch was saying that already. Don't think that you don't have that advantage. Your account is small, you have the best advantage. Kasi you're nimble di ba? Hindi ka mapapaipit Okay? So you can wait for it. But if your account size is more than 100 million, bumili ka na ng konti. Okay na yan. Pero pag tayo, kasi limited ang pera ko, wala, tatime ko lang talaga yan. I'll time it. Okay? That's why it's called active investing. Active investing ang tawag sa atin. Saan ba tayo? Nakalimutan ko na. Where are we?
Danny, did you raise your hand? You have a question?
Yes.
So, sir, even if the 200 MA is above the 50 and 20, you would still buy the stock because of the values?
Which one? Which stock is that?
For Globe.
No, for Globe, basically it's consolidating, right? You got it?
I was asking for the MA sana. Because parang here,
Okay. The MA, yes. Wala pa. It's still in a downtrend, right? Your 200 is still in a downtrend. There's nothing there. Danny, did I answer your question? It's still in a downtrend,
yes, sir. So you would wait for the MAs to cross before you start buying?
Me?
Yes.
Let's say if I have a small amount of money. No. I'll buy it I use 100 day kasi. Let's look. Hindi na umandar 100 day mo.
Lance, help.
2050, 100.
Ayun, no? Ayun sa 100 day. Pag nag-break ng 100 day yan, I'll participate already.
For 1 line.
Yeah.
Dati ang kapay.
You got it? I use a 100 day. I use the 20, 50, 100 day lang. The 200 days, ano lang, just for me to, I don't participate any stock that is that's breaking down of 100 day. Hands off na ako. No. So 20, 50, 100. My last support area is 100 day lang. So my moving average, EMA, exponential moving average is 20, 50, 100. Right? So I will, let's say for example, it breaks down to 50 day, it goes to 100 day. I'm also looking at it kasi that's my last defense talaga. I look at it as a last defense. Okay? Do I answer your question, Danny?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, pag break ng 100 days, sama na lang tayo, put a cut at the bottom. Hawakan na lang natin yan. Okay? But it's so funny, no? Whenever it hits a 50 day, binibentahan. Reach a 100 day, binibentahan. No? I don't know how it happened, but it normally happens talaga. Ganun talaga yan. The stock market is very, very interesting. No? That's why you need to incorporate some momentum. You have to understand all the different trading system which we follow. Okay? Saan ba tayo? Sa Converge. So REIT, we're done with REIT. You're okay with REIT? Yeah, did I answer your question? Why it's slowing down? We're good? Danny?
Yes,
Danny ba? Okay, who's the next one?
Tech.
Tech Chia, yes, Tech.
Hello.
BDO. Let's look at BDO. So do you like it? What do you think? Lagay mo 2 years. I took away the 200 day na para guys can see it. Wala na yung 200 day na. All right, okay. All right. 100 day lang tayo. Okay. What do you think of this chart?
I like it.
Do you buy it now or do you buy it on the pullback?
You buy now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yan, aggressive. What setup is that? Lagay mo sa 1 year na para makita natin sa. Very good. Very aggressive. You buy now. Okay. Lagay mo sa 1 year. Why do you want to buy it now?
Well, it entered the range after it dropped down sa left niya, and parang what do you call this? How do I say this?
Okay, Tech, let me ask you. Is it overbought or oversold? It came from an oversold area, di ba? Tapos nag-breakout di ba?
Yeah.
So that's what are we seeing? We're seeing an overbought. Overbought ba tayo? Hindi. Is that chart overbought? Over meaning, umakyat ba? Hindi.
Umakyat.
Okay, so what is the target? Ano ba target price ng video?
150 something.
158. Okay, so more room. Okay. So in other words, what you need to what? You need to wait for pullbacks, di ba? Kasi umakyat di ba? Right?
Yeah.
So what are we, if I am going to be aggressive buying this, where should I be putting my buy area? Nasaan dapat ang area na dapat na participate ako? Anong dapat? What moving average do I use? Assuming I like it, I want to participate.
The 20.
We have 20, we have 50, we have 100. Anong gusto mo?
On the which one is okay? No, okay. Which one is okay? The 20. Buy on
6 months. Look at 6 months. Anong price on 20?
110.
O 110. Oh, 110?
Yeah.
20, 110? Nasaan yung ano? Nasaan yung
110.
107.
107.
ano yung 100 day?
The 50 is 100. The 50 is 107, right? 100.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So ano gusto mo? Choose your wild.
Actually, mas maganda on the 50 kaysa
50
sa
day?
20. Yeah.
Okay, sige. So that's almost 50% Fibonacci pullback yan, di ba? May 50% yan. 50% yan. 50 days, 50% pullback, di ba? Okay. So practice tayo, ha? So write it down, ha? Basta pag nag 107, kailangan bumili ka na, ha? Para malaman mo kung tatama ka o hindi. No, in other words, you have a plan. That's very important yan, eh. You have a plan. Pull back to 50 day kasi it broke out already. Pull back, ayaw mo ng 0.382. O sige, 0.5 tayo. Di ba? Right? In normal situation, when it reverses, the first pullback is 0.382. At 0.382, you need to be looking at it already. Right? Do you get it? You get it? All right, so your fair value is still 150 plus yan, eh. So in other words, it could be the beginning of a reversal for this particular issue. We got it?
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
any questions? Any questions? No questions? On the no, on video. No questions? Okay, very good. Also, sino ba yung kausap ko kanina?
Yes, sir.
50% pullback. Pwede na yan, 107. Hindi kailangan bumili ka kasi para malaman mo tama o mali, di ba? Oh.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay lang yan. Values naman yan, mura naman yan eh. Di ba? Nag-reverse na, nagpakita na. Tapos matatakot ka pa. Wala, ganun talaga yan. Practice lang. Maski na 10,000 pesos para ma-feel mo, di ba? You need to participate because if you don't participate, wala mangyayari sa akin ng oras natin dito. Ha?
Question from Alvin.
Alvin, yes.
Just a question, sir. So you mentioned that one way to buy is during the pullbacks to the MAs. But what if it never pulls back? It just keeps on rising. Do you buy it for the more short term or do you just leave it because yeah, it's too high now?
Very good question. In other words, if this basically quiets down, let's say, let's look at video again. If this thing just stays there, quiet down, right? So it can have what? It can have a flag or a 1, 2, 3 pullback. I can participate also. Because I don't know if this thing is, if I look at it, the market condition, we're in a weak bull, we're what we call in a weak bear, I expect it to go down more, right? My expectation, it has gone up so much, profit taking coming in already, probably to stay at the 20-day EMA, probably, I don't know, right? So once it quiets on the 20 EMA, which is what we call the holy grail, we will start be looking to participate now, right? Because I don't know if it's going to go 50-day, but at least when it reaches the 20-day, it's what we call the holy grail setup, diba? Right? You have the ADX more than 30, 40 already. You want it to be on the pullback to 20-day. You have to start looking for participation already. Alvin, you understand?
Yes, sir. So what if it doesn't pull back, sir? What would you do?
Once it quiets down, in the next, so it consolidates. Pag breakout ng new high, then participate. Ganun lang. It's a momentum. That becomes a momentum. In other words, you do a flag. It's a flag. It can be a flag or a pennant. Diba? Looks like what you're saying that you're assuming it could be a flag. Just go sideways lang. You think the 10-day sideways, and then the breakout. Kailangan nandun ka. But that's a momentum strategy niya. Because it's about ADX 40, 30, 40. It's already telling you that the market is in momentum, right? Kasi may underlying strength. Then as it quiets down, then you have to participate when it breaks out of the new high. And that setup is called a 90-degree setup, momentum setup, which is a mover.
Another question, sir. Kasi
Yes,
my technical analysis sucks. Why again was it better to buy at the MA50 pullback and not at the MA20 for BDO?
Kasi kung value ka, gusto mo mura, di ba? I mean, it's simple, right? Alvin, if I'm a fund manager, I'm not gonna buy a breakout. Siyempre hindi. Why? Why is it that I don't buy breakouts on this what we call stalwarts? It's called mature growth or mature companies. Why? Pag mature companies, what do we do? What kind of strategy do we use? Is it a buy high, sell high, or buy low, sell high?
Buy low, sell high.
Buy
Buy low,
low,
sell high.
That's why kailangan mura, di ba? Kailangan mura. That's why we participate only when it's cheap. Expensive, we don't participate. Because it is a mature company already. Di ba? Malaki na yung company na yan, di ba? Market cap is huge, di ba? So pag bumabili ka ng breakout, parang, if I'm the fund manager, I'm managing, let's say, a few billion. Pag new highs, you can see all the selling are coming from the institution. Kasi institution, when it's low, they accumulate. Pag breakout new highs, sila nagbebenta niyan eh. This is not a young growth speculative issues. So a buy high, sell higher is always very, you have to be very careful. Kasi hindi naman tutuloy yan eh. Di ba? Kasi mature companies na yan. We're good?
Sir, question from me.
Yes.
So in the same vein, since this is a mature company, would you have sold some into strength here? Kasi sobrang lakas nung run.
Siyempre, kami pa.
Yeah, ako rin. Nagbenta na
Okay,
rin ako.
That's why nga, when you are in the weak bear, you should be selling on strength. Ayun o, dyan na, nakasulat na yan o. Did we share this with them? No? Wala, this is from a different talk. Different talk. O, nandun lahat sa YouTube yan. Kinento na natin lahat yan eh. Di ba? Startup, young growth, high growth. Buy high, sell higher. Right? Pag mature growth, mature stable, declining. Buy low, sell high lang. Ganun lang. Erika. Okay tayo. We're in the same camp. Buy low, sell high on these issues.
Okay, nice to know.
Okay, good. Yeah. But don't forget, video is our favorite company, the biggest. They're the biggest kasi. Okay. The next issue, sino yung susunod? Huh? Nicole. Let's look at Metrobank. Nicole, do you have any experience in trading stocks? Wala naman.
A little bit, but not really like with banks.
Okay, don't worry. Let's practice lang. So what is the fair value of Metrobank?
91.
Yes, very good. 91. So do we like Metrobank? Do you like it?
Yeah, because it's cheap compared to the fair value.
So fair value, very cheap. And then look at the cash dividend. How much did they give last year?
2%.
More. Look at it. Let's go to PSEI. Let's look at it. So these are the things these are tools in your hand. Lahat, nandito tayo sa kamay natin lahat yan. You can watch them, you can look at them to confirm whether tama o mali, right? So let's look at the cash dividend. Ilan ang binigay niya? 4 pesos. Can you see it? 4 pesos. 4 over, magkano yan? 50 ba? What's the price today? 47. How many percent yan?
Mga 10%, a little less than 10%.
Okay, mga 8 to 9%. Okay, so can you imagine a bank paying you 8 to 9%? Malaki ba, mali?
Malaki.
Malaki. Oh. So, do we like it or not?
Yes, we like it.
Ganun ka simple lang. Checklist lang tayo. Checklist. Huh? We like it. So, any pullbacks, we want to participate in Metrobank. So, the next question is, if you're buying at these prices, Nicole, do you think you're buying cheaper than the owners or not?
I think
Let's look at the book value of this company. Nasaan yan? Go to the second one. Financials. Anong book value na nakasulat dyan?
72.
Oh, can you imagine? If you're buying Metrobank today, you're buying cheaper than the owners, right? At a huge discount. Oh, di ba? Right? The last, what they call the follow-on offer, the owners have to pay 75 pesos. Luging-lugi yung mga may-ari dito. Right? Such a very good company, right? Selling at a huge discount. So the next question is it sustainable? That 4 pesos, the 1 peso is the regular, 3 pesos is the additional capital. Right? So the next question is it sustainable? Bakit gustong-gusto ni April yan? Because we really believe. Because there is no loan growth. Walang loan growth ngayon ng all the banks, di ba? Kasi nobody's borrowing money, di ba? Walang loan growth eh. We believe that the next 2 to 3 years, they will continue to pay cash dividend, huge cash dividend. That's why we like it. No? That's why we like it. In other words, you're buying below book value, you're being paid 4 pesos a year, much higher than ARIT, much higher than all the ARIT. And once the economy recovers, nag-recover na yung reopening of the economy. Akit ba yun? Hindi. If most businesses are recovering, then what will happen to the banks? They will do very well, right? Diba? Pag bumalik ang loan growth, diba? Okay? Right? Because they don't need the capital today. Unlike before, the Philippine reserve requirement is 20%. Yung bangko, kailangan may 20% reserve. Today, 11% na lang natitira eh. So, ang dami nilang pera. So, ang ginawa, kung ano gagawin sa pera, wala naman, hindi na mapautang. Ang ginawa nila, dinibedendo na lang nila para the money goes back to the owners, to the original owners. All right? Okay? So, let's look at the chart. Do we participate or not? Erika, may Metrobank ka ba?
Wala.
Okay. Assuming, binili natin ito sa breakout. Anong breakout to? Yeah. Before the break. Anong breakout? 45 pesos. Umakyat. Binenta natin. Saan natin babayback yan? Let's say nakabenta ako. Nakabenta ako sa baka 51, 50. Anong high na? Anong high na? 50. 50. Oh, sige. Lugi yata tayo. Parang kulang ah. But once it quiets down back to 100-day, the pivot breakout, which is about 45, 46, we will start looking at that. In other words, you look at the MACD. Look at the MACD. No? Wait for the MACD to quiet down to zero line. Di ba? Parang nasa overbought market ka, di ba? You're in an overbought, buy low, sell high. Once it quiets down, the MACD back to near zero, we'll start looking to accumulate it again. Okay? So, ganun lang. So always observe, puro mga MACD yan. May MACD. Look at during those times when the market went up, the strong bull that happened. Tingnan nyo. Every time it hit 100-day, nasi swing mo. Di ba? Hindi, the other one. Nasa right side na, sa middle. Hindi. Right. Yeah. Swing trading tayo. Every time it hits 100-day, bounce. 100-day, bounce. Okay? So ganun lang. Di ba? Kailangan naintindihan mo what is the fair value, what is the book value, right? And then what is the dividend? So in other words, it's the buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. Okay? This is after the pandemic yan. Good? Any questions?
Can I clarify? So how do we know like which we should prioritize between like the 20, 50 and 100-day moving average?
So in other words, if you read up all the companies that you like, the first thing is, Nicole, the most important is you have a checklist. Kung ano yung mga kumpanya na gusto mo, di ba? Right? That's what I'm trying to explain kanina. You need to have your own favorite issues, right? So what we're trying to cover today is April's favorite issues, the calling the shots. So that's what we're trying to do now, di ba? Yan ang ginagawa natin. We are choosing the companies that already are being shown to you by calling the shots. By April, these are all the stocks that are from April list yan. So may cheating na tayo. I don't need to be bright. I mean, I just basically try to understand why she likes it, right? And from there, take advantage of market sell-off to participate. Kaya may plano ka na talaga. Kailangan mentally prepared ka sa all the issues there.
Okay. Sorry, but like my question was, for example, let's say that's already a check. Like, let's say there's a stock na that we like, but
Yeah.
we're like waiting for a pullback. So like,
Yeah.
how do we know when it's parang which to look at? Parang when to enter if it's like the 20, 50, or 100?
Oh yeah, well, what we do is we also wait for the MACD to quiet down. Kailangan may MACD quiet down yan. Kailangan mumura, kailangan sa mura ka, hindi ka sa mahal.
Okay, so like when it's near zero na.
Yes. Very good. Yes. So what are my favorite indicators? Of course, price and volume is the most important. The second one is really I use a lot of MACD. Then I use a lot of DMI. DMI is for me to confirm whether there's an underlying strength or not lang. So let's look at this. For example, Metrobank. Did it went above ADX 30?
Yes. It
Okay.
did.
So that may underlying strength o wala?
I think there is.
Okay, that's it. That's it. Yan. Ganun lang. Then wait for it to pull back. Near zero line. Then check the price. Diba? Right? Kasi alam mo, ang values yan, mura yan. Diba? So it's a buy low, sell high strategy also.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's go to the next one. Wala na, gutom na ako. Malapit na. 12 o'clock, 15 minutes to go. Di yata tayo matatapos ito. 8. Let's look at GD cap. Have you been, Abe, have you been in the market? Are you in the market?
Paper trading lang po.
Paper trading? Ano kwenta niyan? Kailangan pindot. Maski na 10,000 pesos lang para makita mo kung para malalaman mo kung kumita ka o hindi. Okay, let's look at the GD cap. So how did GD cap do in the last few days? In the last few mura ba yan, mali? Anong na natin? What's our target price? 1,020. Sobrang mura. 40% discount. Okay. So what are we seeing here? What are we seeing here? Do you know GD Cap? Do you know the company?
Not so familiar po.
Are you familiar?
Not so much po. But
Okay.
my friends have been trading it, so I've been hearing it also.
Okay. So GD Cap is a holding company of Metrobank and Toyota. The biggest, and Federal Land. So it's a holding company of all these major. Ayun. Ang bilis mo naman. Oh. So do you know na? Kilala mo na?
Yes po. Very familiar
Okay.
with companies.
Do we like the company or not?
Very much po.
Okay, that's it. Ganun na. Pwede na. Bumili ka na. Okay na yan. I'm just joking. All right, so let's look at it. Okay, so what do we see? Why is it that it's holding at this level? There's an ADX greater than 3040, right? The market basically have a major reset from last year's pandemic. From a strong bull now, we're going to, right? A consolidation, a reset, nag-breakout, staying sideways. Why do you think we like it? Bakit natin gusto yan?
Because it's holding po. Aside from, the MSCI rebalancing, like the price didn't dip down. It didn't fade po. So it's holding up even above EMA, EMA 20. So we like it po because it's really holding there.
Holding. Okay, very good. Okay, so when it's holding, what is the catalyst why it can go higher? Ano sa tingin mo? Ano tinitingnan namin? Why do we like GD Cap? Why do we like? Out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out of 7 businesses, which one do you think is going to be for the recovery play? Metrobank, wala. Walang loan growth. O, sige. Federal Land, meron ba? Wala. May negosyo ba sila? Wala. Tingin mo, real estate properties, meron ba? Wala. Tingin mo. What's the one that attracts us that just reported last week? What's your brand of your car? Nawala.
Nawala ko.
Anong brand ng kotse? Who's the next one? Erica, ikaw na lang. Nagdadrive ka ba, Erica?
Sir, hindi. Pero Toyota. Toyota kotse namin.
Yung kotse mo, Toyota?
Yung sa family, not mine.
Ah, Toyota. So, do we like Toyota or not?
I think we do. It's one of the most biggest yata sa Philippines eh.
Yes. Very good. Nandiyan na si Abe. Babe, ano ba kotse
Sorry
mo?
po, got disconnected. Ano po?
Takot ka yata, tumakbo ka.
Na-disconnect lang po. Sorry.
Okay. No. What's your car?
We have a Subaru, then Innova, then Hilux po.
Oh, so, dalawang Toyota.
Yes po.
Okay, bumili ka na. Di ba? In other words, if the reopening of the economy is really, look at the numbers of Toyota. Let's go to the disclosure. Di ba? And that's what people, you guys have to understand. It's not the chart. The chart basically is just confirming the news itself, the earnings itself that's coming out. Right? It's just tayo, we have to look at it. Kailangan binabasa natin lahat yan, di ba? Right? Ano ba? Andun yan. In other words, you have to trust me na lang. I hate that word, but you have to trust me that they announce a big jump in terms of sales talaga. Okay? So that's the most important. That's one of the key ingredients of the reason why GDCAP was sold down was because the pandemic created that huge discount that you're seeing today. Okay? In other words, if I'm looking at Toyota today, if I'm looking at GDCAP, aside from Metrobank, I'm also looking at very carefully on the reopening play talaga. There's another one. They have a huge position in MPI also, which is basically also selling at a huge discount. No? Okay? Right? Check up the numbers on Edge or this disclosure on Toyota. Ang laki ng earnings na
This is the
automotive market. How many percent?
automotive operations plus 18%.
That's it.
It's associate plus 50. Need to check which one that is.
Right. Okay. There's another one which they did, which GDCAP did that nobody knows. Let's look at 6758 in Japan. 7203 in Japan. They have a huge investment. GDCAP invested in Toyota in Japan. Let's look at it. So look at this. Ang laki din ng inakyat. So ito yung mga tinatawag na additional investment, di ba? Kasi holding company yan eh. They also bought into Toyota. What? Maybe 3-4 years ago yan eh. So ang laki rin kinikita nila. So these are things that which basically if you understand the company and you know each and every companies that they're investing, at least, di ba? It gives you that additional comfort. Now, probability that when you buy it, when it breaks out, it increases your probability that you're going to be correct. Okay? Right? Abe?
Yes po.
Bumili ka na ng GDCAP. Salesman na salesman. Okay, thank you. What's the next one? Sino pa kawawa talaga. Ay, Adrian. Ito, maraming tanong. Okay. Let's look at it. DNL. Gusto ba natin yan? Alvin. Sino? Alvin ba? Adrian. Sorry. Adrian. So DNL, do you know the DNL family? Kilala mo ba yan?
No, sir. Not
Okay.
familiar.
Why is it my favorite? What are you seeing here?
I'm seeing significant parang increases with the price during the past few days. Pero currently, it seems like it's consolidating.
Very good. Do you see the volume? Do you see the huge volume coming in?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. So DNL basically is what we called a what? What are they? They are a major supplier of what we call supply chain. All right. So in other words, if you have time, please go into the website of DNL and look at the different products that are coming out. One of them is the oleo flat, no? And the other one is also the marami. They're doing very well. Now let's look at the earnings. Let's look at some of the earnings that's coming out now. First quarter earnings. Kumusta? Up or down? Sa baba, sa baba. Yeah. So last year was 514. So now it's 694 million. Ano pangalan niya ulit? Adrian, sorry. So what happened to the earnings, Adrian? Maganda ba, pangit?
Maganda, sir. Around
Okay.
30% or 25% increase.
That's right. In other words, the market basically is not discounting it. Market cannot see it. It's growing 25% already. Going to pre-pandemic na yan. Right? So is that a good company or not?
Yes, sir. If I remember correctly, they also released dividends recently, or they announced.
Just declared, very good. Just declared a dividend the other day. How many percent? Laki ng binigay. So dividend.
I'm not sure. It's around 0.05 per share.
14.146. That's almost more than 2% dividend, right? Okay, so in other words, it also fits our checklist: people, product, potential, predictable, and it's cheap. No? It's growing at 25% already. So let's look at let me show you a historical chart of DNL. Oh, 5 years now. Look at that. No? In other words, what we're seeing is this. What do we see? Sino ba yung chartist natin? Danny!
Yes, sir.
Artist ka kasi, kaya kawawa ka sa akin. Okay. What do you see there? Just these 5 years. 5 years of the chart of is it reversing? Has it reversed? Is it going to the beginning of the quadrant 2? Ano tingin mo?
Parang pababa pa rin siya.
Pababa. Okay.
Generally, kasi hindi pa siya nag-touch dun sa peak. Dun sa support sa may... Parang malapit pa lang sa may 8.5. So if nag-breakout, baka may chance na ano.
Okay, can you draw that? Can you draw the L, then the U, then the square root? You the collapse. That's your capitulation. Capitulation. Yan. Ako. Mag-lecture ka na sa akin. Hindi, 2019, yung graph. How do you draw?
There.
Oh, yeah. And then flat. Hindi, just draw another line. YouTube. YouTube. What do you call that?
Cup and handle.
Very good. Continuation of the beginning of the bull market. In other words, DNL basically is beginning of the quadrant 2 already. Ganun lang. Ganun kasimple lang. Right? Check the earnings, double earnings. In other words, you should be buying it already. Right? Sino may kausap ko niya?
Adrian. Sir.
Adrian! Bumili ka na.
Sige, sir.
Go back to the reversal pattern. Ano reversal pattern tinuro natin dyan? Diba? Where's that reversal pattern which we talk about? Diba? We teach the capitulation. It's the L, the U, and the square root. Nandun na lahat yan, no? It's there. Right? Where's that reversal pattern na pinakita natin? Kanina, you showed it to me kanina. Mahirap kumita ng pera, no? Mahirap talaga. Di yata tayo matatapos dito. Gugutumin yata kayo na tayo nito. Whenever I'm looking at the reversal pattern, everything has to be in place, right? You have a capitulation, then you have an L, a U, and basically a square root for the breakout. So that square root indirectly could be a cup and handle lang talaga yan. Okay. So ganun lang talaga, no? For you to be able to understand how this is done, all right? So DNL, we like it also. The only problem is, of course, what is the problem? If you look at the target price, it's 920 lang. Ayan, that's what it is lang. You know, it's the L to a U, right? And then to a square root. In other words, that cup and handle, that reset, Danny, is the beginning of the breakout. All right? In other words, that reset indirectly is the beginning of that flat coil, which is like a cup and handle, right? When earnings are coming in, that's your quadrant 2 already, the beginning of the growth, no? That's coming back in. Okay? So we like DNL. Right? Let's look at the CNPF lang, just for them to see it lang. When it was flat, it was before the start of the breakout lang. Ayun, look at that. Of course, the chart is much better here, right? Kasi, di ba, Danny? Di ba? Kasi nagko-consolidate for the breakout, di ba? But that's your real cup and handle, no? But for us, it's the same. We look at all the major moving average, quieting down. We check the earnings. Is the earnings growing 20-25%? Wala na, pipindutin na natin yan. All right? So we like DNL. Adrian, do you see it?
Yes, sir.
Do we agree?
Agree, sir.
Umili ka na. O sige, let's go to the next one. Sino yung susunod? Royce.
Hello, sir.
So do you like properties?
If I own them, sir, why not?
I like that. Okay, let's look at Megaworld and let's look at Megaworld and ALI all at the same time. What was the reason why there was being sold off now? Do you know the reason why?
Perhaps it's because of the sir, like for the pandemic ba?
No, the big drop that we see in Megaworld.
Oh, I'm not aware, sir.
You're not aware. Okay, this is because of the MSCI rebalancing that was announced, I think in April or in the middle of April. Created the panic selling that came in because it's basically the institutional liquidating it. All right. So if you look at what was the low? Low is what?
260.
260. What's our fair value? 4 pesos. Yeah. 4 pesos. Yeah.
Medyo malapit.
Malapit na. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that because of this huge capitulation that happened, and then the rally back to resistance, look at that resistance. Ano ba resistance price natin? We put a 100-day EMA. Look at that, oh. Danny, do you see it? Look at that. Look at that mean reversion. Nag-mean reversion yan, ah. Right? Back to 100-day, oh, tingnan mo. Galing, no? It just stops there. Look at it. It just stops there. Right? So in other words, we're waiting for it, for us to be able to participate, we are waiting for it to at least make a pullback, makes a pullback on the issues itself. Right? Same with Ali. Ali is basically out of range already. Ali is, I think the MSCI, the fair value is already above it, diba?
Yes.
36 something lang. So these are all the same. These are all the things that we look at. No? So in other words, at this level, we'll be selling. In other words, the capitulation that came in because of the MACI rebalancing, right? Then the rally all to resistance. So we believe that Megaworld, ALI, sideways on the market. No? It's just going sideways now, consolidating. Especially ALI, kasi ALI has reached its fair value. 36 something na yung fair value. In fact, lumampas pa nga, nag-38 pa yan. Di ba? All right? Sino ba kausap ko?
Right.
I see Royce. Royce, what's your favorite issue among all the issues that came out?
Wala namang favorite, sir.
Wala kang favorite?
No favorite, sir.
Okay, that's good. Wala kang, nagbasa ka ba? Wala kang favorite companies out of all the ones that listed by April? Wala? Wala kang nakita?
Out of the ones listed by April, ba, sir?
Yeah, out of the list of April.
I think I like GT Cap the best.
Okay, all right, good. At least. Okay, so what else? MPI, infrastructure, Monde, AP. Okay, let's look at it. Ay, pagod na ako. Okay, MPI. Let's look at MPI. Who's the next one? Marco.
Hi, sir.
Oh, gusto ba natin itong MPI na ito?
Sorry, sir.
Do you like MPI?
Yes, I like MPI.
So why do you like MPI?
For me, the infrastructure building, their infrastructure projects are still pushing through, and it's still relatively cheap compared to its peers.
Okay, very good. Does it pay cash dividend?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so in other words, if you like it's like a parang ano yan, parang utility yan, di ba? So in other words, puro ano lang, puro ano, infrastructure. Look at the dividends. Ilang percent yan?
That's around 10% dividend, I think.
Oh, wala. 7 cents lang. 7 cents lang. Okay, if you look at this chart, what do you see? What do you see? It went from buy low, sell high. Are we in resistance or not?
I think it broke resistance already.
Diba box lang yan?
We're hitting resistance again.
Yes.
It pulled back.
Yes. So in other words, if you're going to enter it, where do you going to enter it? On pullback, right?
On the pullbacks, yes.
So it's a swing. So what's the swing? What's the law of the swing? Kano ba yan? Anong bottom yan? Huh?
360.
Okay, so it's a buy low, sell high lang. So at this level, resistance, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we just have to be more patient and wait for it to go back to the support level, right? Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's the next one? Monde. Monde is a new issue, no? Wala pa yan. That's meron na. Monde. MONDE. Wala pa yan. It's sa trading view. Investogram. Who's the next one?
Alvin po.
Huh?
Alvin. Tanong lang kanina po.
Alvin, yes. Do you like Monde? Go to Instagram. Alvin, do you like Monde?
Yes, sir. I think it's a good company because it's pretty established here. It's like the leading brand in a lot of consumer foods, and then it has a growth potential in its core business, sir.
Okay, very good. It's basically the one that we talk about: the people, product, potential, predictable, and because it's a big issue, so we waited for a few days lang, for a few weeks for it to consolidate. Now that it broke the IPO price, we have to participate. All right. Okay, so we like it. We like the issue very much. So what we did was we used a 1750 target price for the fair value, right? Wala pa kasi from our research, wala pa yan. Pero we're looking at it from that level. No? So it's also the same. It's a big issue, so no need to chase. It's a buy low sell high. This is like a 1, 2, 3 pullback on the ADX. Wala pa ADX, wala pa yata ang ADX. So there's an underlying strength quieting down. We like the issue very well. We like the owners. I've been spending time talking to him just to be able to understand what he's doing. But great, very good company, very good company. It passes all the checklists now. Yeah, very good, Alvin, very good.
Question, sir.
Yes.
So right now, would you say it's still an attractive price to buy, or is it's gone up relatively a lot now?
So what we did, did you have that? You don't have that. What we did was first was we always try to buy at the margin of safety. It's called margin of safety. Okay, so 1750. The first margin of safety we used was 25% discount. So 25% discount is how much? 14 pesos yata. So we don't know where it was going to open. So we recommended basically to buy it at 1750 less 25% margin of safety. Tama ba? 14 pesos. Right? Okay? But last week, we adjusted it already. So what we did was for all our followers, we have subscription, we have followers. Because the market is, the Monde stock has performed well, what we did was we created now what we call buy below at 15% discount na. Kasi long-term investing, these are all passive investing, di ba? So for them to continue continue accumulating on their what we call the dollar cost average, their the peso cost average at 1750 divided by 1.15. How much is that?
15.2.
15.2. Anything at 15.2 below, you can accumulate. No, you can accumulate. These are all for the passive investing, passive funds talaga yan. So in other words, if you are doing a monthly cost averaging, anything below 15.2, you can buy it. So that's what we did. We recommended that. No, we recommended that. These are for passive investors, not for the active investors. These are for passive investors talaga. No, that we like the company. Kasi the price, we don't know how it will range. Diba? But anything below 15% below 1750, which is our fair value, you can accumulate it on a monthly basis. This is what we call the cost averaging basis. Okay? Hindi active trading yan. We buy low sell. We don't do that. Kasi we have an audience. We're about almost more than 13,000 subscriber that we teach them how to do this properly. No? We have to guide them. So 1350, when it was initially came out, we don't want to buy too much because it was a big issue that coming out. So what we did was a 14 pesos buy below. Today, we have upgraded it already because it's performing well. That means that means the market is taking it very well. Now, for all these passive investors, we put a 1520 buy below. It's 15% discount over our fair value, which is 1750. So 1750 divided by 1.15. 1520 below. Now, for you guys who are actively in the market, then you can time it, right? But for us, we have an audience. We have, I think, almost 15 to 20,000 audience that basically we teach them to buy this slowly. No? Cost averaging ang labanan dyan. Okay? All right? One more question.
Follow-up question, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
So, would you sell I guess more for an investor's perspective, but would you sell a company at fair value if the company is still growing and then its earnings is still increasing relatively good, sir?
In the case of Century Tuna, we told them to sell at fair value because it was also included in the MSCI, diba? So what we did was when it was going up, we were selling at fair value talaga. Because it the MSCI addition and deletion creates an artificial demand and supply, diba? So it indirectly it was doing at 17, 18 pesos, and suddenly it was included in MSCI. It went to 23, 24. So for us, it's an artificial demand that was yung mga quant yan diba? Mga quant yan. So there in other words, all the funds now has to include SCNPF into the what do you call this? The MSCI. Yeah, we started liquidating it already. And so far we're correct kasi it's after the MSCI, pababa na yan. Absence of seller, absence of buyer, automatically magpo-pull back na. But for us, we will start looking at it when there's a discount already. 15-25% discount on Century Tuna, we will go back into the market. Ibabalik namin yan. Do I answer your question? In other words, it has reached fair value. We always want to buy at 15% margin of safety. Did I answer your question, Alvin? Are we good?
Sorry, sir, just a clarification. So what if it reaches fair value, but then it never pulls back, so walang discount, but then it keeps on increasing now?
We don't do that. We don't do that. Because our audience is passive investor. Now, if I'm a market technician, I can participate, di ba? So parang momentum, di ba? I can participate, but I'm wearing an investor hat kasi on this one. For those companies, because we have an audience of passive investors also. So you really need always that margin of safety, di ba? Kasi anything more expensive, you just have to trade it. That's why you have to understand momentum also, di ba? For example, to give you an example, like ASEN, for example, right? If you look at ASEN, it's going to be included into the MSCI, possible MSCI inclusion yan eh, di ba? But is it expensive or cheap? It's expensive. That's why it's not included in the calling the shot. Kasi calling the shot is all about values din eh. Kailangan may value, kailangan mura, di ba? But if you look at the ASEN chart, it's fantastic. It looks like it's breaking out, di ba? Right? Nakuha mo, Alvin? So
Yes,
for
sir.
us, we should participate, right? Kasi the chart looks good, we participate. Right? It's a good company, it's an ALI company, it's going to be included in the MSCI. But as far as values is concerned, wala yan, hindi kami sumasali sa values. Hindi namin gagawin yan. Do you understand? Kasi wala tayong margin of safety. You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So in other words, ASEAN is still in momentum, please. In other words, nasa momentum pa yan. Look at ito, nasa momentum pa yan. So as far as our traders is concerned, we're participating di ba? But as far as values is concerned, wala. So you have to wear the momentum hat in ASEAN, not wear a investing hat. Okay? Walang margin of safety yan. Okay. Are we done? Isa pa? Last?
Russell.
Last na lang tayo, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay, AP, ano? Gusto ba natin na hindi?
Gusto rin.
Ha?
Gusto rin. AP.
Okay, bakit mo gusto? Let's look at the fair value. Oh, ano? Tingin
Almost 100% from fair value.
Okay. So, pinag-iisipan pa ba yan? Bilhin mo na. Di ba? AP. Look at AP. AP yan.
Stupid lang.
Hindi, just go at the bottom. Okay, ba't ganun?
I don't know. Yung static.
Ganyan yung tapos yung...
Baba lang, pin pa the bottom. Diba? Plus computer yan. Tapos mo yung computer mo. Okay, what are you seeing here? Look at the opportunity. In other words, it was sold down because of the deletion of the MSCI, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the company is doing so well. First quarter report, it's up what? Ang laki ng up 200% yata yung earnings yan eh. Let's look at the earnings came out. Financial report. Kinakabahan ka.
Dapat ako ng laptop ko
Look at that, di ba? 2 billion to 6 billion, right? Can you imagine the quant basically because of the MSCI deletion? Look at it. It basically nagbigay ng pera talaga. That's why in April we talk about the capitulation on mean reversion on AP at saka yung Aboitiz equity ventures. So it's the same, right? So you need to know all these rules of the game. Now the question is, do I sell it? That was the question of I'll ask the question for sino ba ito? Si Alvin. Oh. Fair value is 42. Rallied from 20 to 24. Ano gagawin natin?
Probably still wait, sir, because it's still very far from fair value.
Okay, very good. That's it. Di ba? Right? So if you like the money, what you do is you sell 1/3 and then just so that, di ba? Para may konting negosyo naman COL, di ba? Pag benta ng konti, then you buy it back. But because you know your fair value is 42, earnings are growing 200% already. Second quarter in terms of the what do you call this, the West End prices has gone up double. So we believe that the second quarter numbers are even much better than the first quarter numbers. Okay? Right? Of course, the foreign institutions don't like it anymore because of the ESGN. And that's the reason why it was deleted completely. But it creates an opportunity for us. Right? These are opportunities yan. Now wherein they're selling at a huge discount because of the artificial supply that's coming out because of the deletion. So ganun lang. Wearing those kind of hats. Wearing those kind of hats lang. Okay? So we are indirectly a value. Value tayo. Kailang value. May margin of safety palagi yan. Right? And we wait for market to capitulate. And once it starts reversing, we wear our trading hat, momentum hat. Okay? So ASEN is a momentum play. Still in momentum. Right? Hopefully DNL is the beginning of the momentum. Right? The only thing is, of course, the 920 fair value. Parang malapit na masyado. That's why we cannot include it in the investment na. Wala na sa investment. All right? Any more questions? Pag hindi pa kayo kumita dito, wala na tayong magagawa. Naku. Ano na? Erika, di ba? Spoon feeding na ito. Di ba spoon feeding ito?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the picks. Watchlist na lahat.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I'll still be... Tuloy pa ba ako? Next month?
Informal sessions.
Informal sessions. Okay. All right. I hope you learned something today. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Chairman. So, guys, just a reminder that we have another meeting this afternoon.